Happy Tuesday. After a Memorial Day long weekend, we are back at it. So, I have a very special book that is about, well, I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but I am a firm believer in anti-bullying and cyberbullying and all that stuff. So, if anybody that knows me, knows my classrooms that I've ever had or been involved in, my students all know that bullying is not tolerated or accepted in any way. We are all one, we are all family, and we should stick together. Be nice, be kind, and be treating one another with respect. All right, so this is a special book. You're going to see kind of a side to me that some may know and some may not. So I am a huge fan of wrestling. I always have been since I was a young boy, and you can thank my father for that one. But this one is called The Young Bucks Stand Tall. And I want you to listen carefully at the message in this book, because it actually does share quite a pretty cool message. All right. The elite team, Young Bucks Stand Tall. The story was by Matt and Nick Jackson, and illustrations were by Dylan Coburn. Matt with the reverse. Bam! Nick high flies off the top rope. Bang! The crowd roars. Super kick! All right. Matt and Nick were inseparable. They went to school together. They shared the same room, and they ate each other's vegetables. Hey, Nick, eat some. And they even finished each other's sentences. Hey, Nick, eat some peas, please. But by age 8, there was a problem. Matt and Nick, they were tiny. But despite their size, they formed a secret club with their friends, and they called it the Elite Team. Every day they worked on their wrestling moves until... One day at school, Matt and Nick and the Elite Team were practicing during recess. Marty sang, "I want to be a pop star." Adam lassoed, "I want to be a cowboy." And Cody, of course, well, he wanted to be the president. And Kenny, a janitor. Snooping nearby, Jimmy just crossed his arms and he rolled his eyes. The tag team proudly stood up and declared at the same time, "We want to be wrestlers." Jimmy rolled over laughing, and the tiny brothers? "That's funny. You guys are too small to be wrestlers." As Jimmy got up from the ground, Matt and Nick looked up. Way up. They quickly turned for help, but they saw their friends Cody, Marty, Kenny, and Adam standing by in silence. Matt and Nick felt defeated. What were their friends doing, taking Jimmy's side? For the first time, they realized they were small, and for the first time, they actually felt small. So, they raced home together, flung the door open together, and flopped onto the rug together. And they had to figure out a way to get big. For dinner, they piled their plates extra tall with broccoli and spinach, and they devoured it. But that night, they hadn't grown an inch. The next day, they desperately pulled and pulled at their arms and legs, and still not an inch. Matt and Nick made every attempt to grow without any success. Finally, during bedtime prayers, they asked to be bigger. Back at school, Matt and Nick still felt small. At recess, they dodged their wrestling practice and they skipped the elite team club meeting. They even stopped wearing matching gear. They continued to mope around the house until their dad surprised them with wrestling tickets for the big event. He wrapped their matching zebra headbands through their hair as they reluctantly made signs. And then their dad dragged them to the arena. Matt heard the crowd's cheers. Nick saw the fans' signs. And the lights faded, the music came on, and the crowd roared for the first wrestler as he approached the ring. They lifted their faces and they couldn't believe their eyes. He's so tiny. Matt and Nick watched in amazement as the wrestler named Samson the Spectacular darted, flipped, and rolled around the ring. And all of a sudden, thwomp! 1, 2, 3! The ref counted. In victory, the tiny wrestler stepped through the ropes and took off his winning tassels. He held one out to Nick and the other out to Matt. When I was a young buck like you boys, I was the smallest kid in class. But if you have a big heart, you can be elite at anything. Their prayers were answered. Matt and Nick felt bigger from their experience at the wrestling match. They were determined to make a comeback. They called an emergency elite team club meeting for recess the next day, and the elites were excited to hear their voices again. Matt and Nick raced across the playground wearing their new tassels. They flew into the wrestling meeting with a double super kick. We have decided we will be wrestlers. Jimmy puffed up his chest and he looked them square in the eye. You little runts would get eaten alive in the wrestling ring. Matt and Nick stood tall, and the elite team realized their friends, the Young Bucks, they needed them. So, Marty stood up in defense. Adam followed. Cody stood up and cheered. Matt's faster than the fastest cheetah. And then Kenny chimed in. And Nick can fly higher than a hawk. With the elites behind them, the tag team pushed back. With a big heart, we can be elite at anything. As Jimmy looked at the whole elite team, he slowly backed down. Small in stature, but big on heart, their moves were the talk of the class. The Young Bucks were reborn. The Young Bucks made it their mission to help others stand up to all the Jimmies out there. The elite team united a movement from playground to playground to take a stand and tassel up. The Young Bucks inspired the next generation of upstanders. Bang! Super kick! Stand tall. The end. So there's a note at the end of this, and it says, a note from the Young Bucks. Your actions shape not only your future, but the future of others. Your behavior towards classmates can either help build up their confidence or bring their confidence down. Reflect on each other's qualities and highlight the strengths. If you find yourself in a situation where you're putting someone down or watching someone being put down, we hope you can find the courage to stand tall and take action. Each of you has the power to make a difference in your own life and in someone else's life. Be that light in our world. Remember that when you have big hearts, you can be elite at anything. Stand tall. Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. So, hope you enjoyed today's story. Has a pretty cool message, even if they are from wrestlers. And don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. You want to do it, put your mind to it, and do it. Believe it. You'll achieve it. All right. On that note, we will see you later. Stay home, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you tomorrow. Bye.